In today's episode, I'll be giving my review and reaction to the 1985 film To Live and Die in LA. So let's live and die in LA and get right into this movie. Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the DubCast. To Live and Die in LA was released on November 1st, 1985. The genre is a neo-noir action thriller. The runtime is an hour and 56 minutes. Budget $6 million. The director is William Friedkin. First film I've seen from William Friedkin, I believe. So this movie stars William Peterson, Willem Dafoe, John Pankow, Deborah Fuhr, John Turturro, Darlan Flugel, and Dean Stockwell. So if you're new to the channel, quickly we'll give my overarching review, give a score, compare that score amongst other reviews that we've done so far in the DubCast, and then we will dive into my thoughts and reactions throughout the film. So starting off with my overarching review, I think this movie's just fine overall. I don't think this movie's really anything crazy. There's nothing too terrible for me to drag this movie down, but like thinking, I watched it a couple of days ago, just thinking back on it now, it's kind of just like, it was what it was, you know. There are some high points which we'll go over, but I think, you know, just to me, this is like the definition of a pretty standard, you know, movie. I'm not necessarily upset I watched it, but I think there's definitely better movies out there, and we'll get to my score later. But the best part of this movie to me was Willem Dafoe's character. His performance just felt like he stood out easily to me as the most, you know, actor chops. I don't know, like his performance was pretty good, while the other characters were kind of just meh. Really, like even I feel like they try to force the main guy on you. I just really couldn't get behind him or really care about what happened to the main guy. I wasn't feeling him at all. I'm not sure if we were supposed to be rooting for him overall. You know, he's kind of has a conflicted story throughout this movie, but I was not feeling that really at all. I was more in Defoe's corner just to see what he would do. Like his character's really interesting. So our main guy definitely became unhinged, and this plot of him wanting to do anything to solve the case is something familiar as to what I've seen in movies before. All the Little Things, a review we've done on this channel before. American Gangster, I just covered a couple weeks ago. It's kind of this, not, and I don't want to, I'm not burnt out because of this quote trope is what I'll call it, but it's like I've seen this story done before, and this just didn't feel like it was, I don't want to say properly set up, but it just didn't feel like it was, like I didn't feel wrapped into it. I didn't feel emotional. I came out of this movie and was just like, oh, that was a movie I watched. I wasn't like angry or sad or upset or wondering what happened. Like it was just a fine movie. So I thought the soundtrack was a little bit cheesy, if I'm being honest. I don't really like to talk about the soundtrack because I know there's people out there who freak out over the score of movies, and composers who work very hard on these soundtracks, whatever. But for me, this soundtrack just seemed a little bit cheesy to me. Other than that, mostly fine. Like it's just felt like a little, like, I mean, I know it's 1985. This is 40 years ago at this point, which is crazy to say. 40 years ago, this movie came out. But yeah, I mean, the soundtrack was a little bit cheesy for me. So I will say I was also kind of bored during a lot of this movie, mostly the middle of the movie. I know the middle of the movie is kind of the hardest part to keep people intrigued because you're building towards the end. The beginning's got to draw you in, the middle's got to keep you there, and the end's got to, you know, leave you satisfied. So I don't know. I think the middle loses me at a lot of these plots, and the middle of this movie lost me for sure. The twist at the end of the person that they shot being FBI, I thought was that they killed propped up the movie a little bit for me. Personally, I just think that was a really good twist. I didn't really see that coming at all. You know, you kind of go through the movie with assuming they're just chasing these guys, and they chase this random guy off the street. Turns out he's FBI. That's why they get in this huge shootout. So I did like that part of it. I thought that was a decent twist in the movie that I wasn't expecting at all, especially since this story was kind of a baseline through and through, no really wrinkles. It's just kind of like William Dafoe's character is elusive, and our guy's kind of losing steam and just becoming unhinged and doing whatever it takes to solve this case and get this guy because his old partner died. So I did like that twist at the end. I thought that was pretty interesting. There are some other parts of this movie that I found interesting, like the making of the counterfeit money. I've never obviously made counterfeit money, and I've never seen it properly made, or just the process of it. I never even have thought of the process of what it'd be like to make counterfeit money. So it was interesting to see not only that, but his Defoe's character be kind of this kingpin of counterfeit money and how he deals with people on a day-to-day basis and what he has to do to get his money out there. Because that's when you think of crime and you think of crime movies, especially, you don't really think of someone being a counterfeit money launderer, and I don't know. That stuck out to me as something that was pretty interesting. Also, I like the idea of the main character being with the stripper slash informant. I thought that was an interesting twist in the movie. Also, like sleeping with her is what I meant. I thought that played out some interesting dynamics throughout the movie. I did appreciate that. I think that has been a thing before, but this was a good relationship, a back and forth there. So I did like that aspect of this movie as well. Some of the random stuff, which we'll talk about this in a bit, but this guy jumping off the bridge and him just having the bungee kind of took me out of it at points. I'm not sure if I'm trying to think back on it, but I mean, I'm not really remembering. There's aren't key moments sticking out to me from this movie other than this, but like it felt like that was just kind of randomly placed in there, and I'm sure there's some deeper meaning and some deeper theme that I'm missing, but I don't like when movies just randomly throw stuff at you like that. I mean, as I'm talking this through now, I'm imagining somebody else listening to this. I don't even think you remember that scene from the movie. I bet you don't. Maybe you do because it's your favorite movie, but that takes me out of it. I don't like that when a movie's taking itself serious like this movie, and then you have a fucking scene of a guy just swinging on a bridge for no reason. Maybe that was a character later on that we met. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch that scene maybe. So I also wish they went more into the idea of him being a Secret Service agent. You read the description of the movie, it's like the Secret Service agent gets too wrapped up in this case. He protects the president at one hotel, and yes, that opening scene is pretty interesting and draws you in with the guy on the top of the hotel bomb. He's going to pull it off. But that's really the only Secret Service we get, and I know this isn't really a Secret Service movie. It's more of the theme of the guy wrapping himself too deep into the case, allowing himself to be, not mind controlled, but his whole life is towards getting Defoe's character. But I would like to see more little aspects of behind the curtain at the Secret Service. I think that could make for an interesting concept. That's just what I'm thinking there. I wanted to see more of that. Maybe that's just me reading too much into the movie description. I also respect how at the end of the movie they killed off all the main characters like it was nothing. I do appreciate that. That keeps it real. It felt like that was a real ending that could have possibly happened, not just some like we'll protect the plot armor and protect our guys and they're going to live. So I did like the fact that they did kill off the main characters at the end. Other movies that I've talked about in the past couple of weeks haven't really had that ending where, I'm thinking about 1917 where I thought that he was a little bit protected by the plot. And yeah, so I did like that part at the end. Overall, I'm giving this movie a 6.8. There are things that stuck out to me that I did like about this movie, like I mentioned before. Like Defoe's character was awesome. I thought the twist at the end was interesting. The counterfeit money aspect, the stripper, I thought that was all really cool dynamic that could have played out. I just thought the execution of it wasn't the best. I felt pretty bored during the middle of the movie, and I also just didn't feel emotionally connected at all to the main character. I'm not sure if we were or not, but that's just personally how I felt. Most of the characters were pretty forgettable. They try and kind of force the partner who's trying to do the right thing on you. He was kind of forgettable. I just thought that I don't want to criticize their acting because they're only given a script and they only can do the best what they were given, but that's where that holds me back from giving this a 7. So I think a 6.8 is a pretty respectable score. That's where I'm landing it at for To Live and Die in LA. 40 years later, also have that to factor in as well. Some older movies are gas, some just don't hold up the test of time as well. So 6.8 for To Live and Die in LA. Let's see where this compares amongst our other DubCast reviews so far. So this is our 41st movie, which is crazy to say. And of those 41 movies, this ranks at number 35. This is the first 6.8 on our list and only the fourth 6 given out on the list to this point. So yeah, unfortunately, this movie does come in at the bottom 6. But like I said in a lot of my reviews, most of these recommendations I have are pretty good. And some of the ones that are on the bottom of the list are just ones that I've been mandated to watch or recommended to myself by just thinking it was interesting. So most of the ones above the list are the ones that people recommended to me that they thought were good. Like I've mentioned before, if you're recommending a movie to a friend, it's going to be good. You don't want to ruin your own reputation recommending movies. So that's why I'm explaining basically how this is like a somewhat decent movie, but it's the sixth to worst on this list. Anyways, let's compare it to some of the other crime movies that I thought were kind of similar. I mean, you have Training Day and Wind River at the top, but I thought those were kind of different storylines in this story. So I'm going to compare this one against Molly's Game. Obviously, is worse than Molly's Game. The Little Things is worse. I think The Little Things is the closest movie to this on the list, kind of just a modern version. And I thought Rami Malek and Jared Leto and Denzel all killed it in that movie, while you only really have Defoe in this movie, so that explains the point 0.6 difference there. American Gangster also as well with Denzel. I mentioned before, Denzel is becoming one of my goats. Really starting to love Denzel, but that was just levels above this movie. I think that's pretty agreeable to most people out there. But if you disagree, where would you move up to live and die in LA? Or if you disagree even more with me and think this is even worse than all the movies on the list, feel free to comment that below. So we will move on now to my thoughts and reactions throughout the film, starting with the introduction to the film. And it's, I believe, the Secret Service agent driving his car, and he pulls up to the hotel. And what do you know? 2 movies in a row. We had, last movie I reviewed was Django Unchained, and they had a nice little Django intro song there. And this, how about To Live and Die in LA as an intro song here? So I doubt that this song was made just for this movie, and maybe they took the lyrics off that song, because I mean, maybe I'm guessing, I should have done my homework on that. But if that's a theme song for this movie, that's awesome. I did write it down as a theme song, but I doubt that that came out for this movie. I could be totally wrong. Either way, I did appreciate that aspect. I like when they mention the movie title, especially early on in a song, even too. I thought that was a cool aspect of it to lead us off here. So, jumping right in, our Secret Service agent, and this is the only really Secret Service scene of the whole movie. There's a dead policeman on the roof already. Our guy, who I don't even, this might be absurd to say because I'm filming a whole podcast about this movie. I don't even know what our guy is named. So I'm just going to say the main character because I don't even know what his name is. I didn't even bother to look his name. I didn't care about him at all. Anyways, so he gets a spider sense that there is something going wrong in the hotel, and he's right because he goes to the roof and there's a dead policeman there. Now, red flags all over the place. How is there just a dead policeman on the roof? I don't know. But we have a guy ready to blow himself up, and we have him hanging off the edge with bombs. I don't know what his plan was. A suicide bomb. Obviously, he's strapped, but he was going to jump down and kill people or just bomb the roof of it. Like, I thought that the logistics of that weren't great. Well, maybe he was assuming he wasn't going to get caught, so I'm not going to question a suicide bomber's motives anyway. Fuck you for trying to take other people out with you. That's sad. And, you know, all lives deserve to live, especially innocent ones. So fuck that guy anyway. But our boy, the main character, is up on the roof with them, or up on the roof with this guy. And luckily, he was able to contact his older partner, who pulls him and throws him by his leg at the last second, clearing the hotel. The bomb blows up, and they save the day. So no explosion in a hotel, and our Secret Service agent is off to a hot start. Both of them are, chilling. They're going to go get beers after this. It's pretty classic cop back and forth. We did a good thing today. But it was hard to do it because we had to throw the guy off the roof and almost die. Like, understandable. So right away, it kind of is random where we're introduced to Willem Dafoe's character because we don't get anything of him counterfeiting money yet. He is painting outside. He finishes his painting and then burns it. Now, I think this is an introduction to his arsenic. I don't know how you say arson tendencies. And so he just burns this painting after finishing it. And then a different guy who I'm trying to think who this guy was. Was it the second partner later on? Because that's the only thing that's sticking in my head right now. But if this is just a random guy jumping off a bridge, what were we doing? His legs attached to a bungee. Really weird scene too, because he's up there. I'm like, okay, so we have a guy saved from a bomb on the top of a roof, and then we have Willem Dafoe burning a painting, and then we have a guy about to jump off a bridge and commit suicide, but no, he has a bungee, and we're never going to see that guy again. So right off the bat, I was like, this better not be like a true romance, like everything is fucking crazy, and it's just blah, 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 Magnolia, even worse, where it's just like everything's happening, and everything's whatever, and this movie isn't serious at all. Luckily, it does course correct itself throughout the movie, but I thought that this was a really random scene in comparison to everything else that happens. I understand the painting aspect of it, but the jumping off the bridge, I need answers on that. Maybe it's like a mythical scene, and maybe it's one of those rug pulls where they try and get you with a psychology in the movie theater. You know, like, wait, they pull you outside, like, who saw that guy jump off the bridge with the bungee cord? And then everyone's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's a psychology test. They flash in front of your face. I don't know. I learned that in business and marketing class. Maybe that was a dog shit class. Anyways, it wasn't. Respect my professor. Anyways, keeping it moving. So we pick up again after the guy jumps off the bridge with our guy who burned the painting, which is Willem Dafoe's character. So he is now making counterfeit money, which was a pretty intricate process. I talked about it in the overarching review, so I won't harp on it too much, but I did appreciate seeing this overarching. Why did I just say overarching? I did appreciate seeing this intricate process where he takes the money, makes it like he has to very carefully draw black on it to make sure that it doesn't, or that it fits in with other bills. Then he throws it all in the wash with these checkers, gets it out, prints it. Like, it's a very intricate process. I didn't mind that. I think this sequence probably took at least 5 minutes, but I didn't mind it. It was a cool thing to watch, like aesthetically pleasing as well. He's getting it down to the perfect detail. I did like that scene, so I thought that was a pretty interesting process there. So we have our boys in the Secret Service, back to them. This is kind of a two-sided tale of the story because we spent a lot of time with Willem Dafoe's character. We also spent a lot of time with the Secret Service agent. So after their little victory at the hotel, the older partner is 3 days out from retiring. So he has one last lead to go and chase down, which I think kind of alludes to the later theme of the movie of the younger Secret Service agent wanting to do the same thing, like track down this lead with anything to give his life for. It's like, bro, you have 3 days left in retirement. The other guy offers to come with him, but he says, no, I got to do this on my own. So you're 3 days out to retirement. First of all, if you're 3 days out to retirement, don't pick up anything. Don't touch. You shouldn't be doing anything. You should literally be in your office just like drinking coffee and maybe like having a party on the last day for sure. Last 2 days, I gotta inform the people below, start training people. Like, hey, here's where my bodies are buried. You know, here's what you need to know about. Why are you going out on a field mission? Also, if you're about to retire, this dude's like 60 or late 50s. I don't know what the retirement age is for people in the Secret Service. It's probably skews a lot younger. But dude, don't do this. Like, what are you doing? You're gonna go and meddle on your own, and right when he gets there, there's barbed wire. He's got to put the old little rug down on top of it to get over. So he finds the counterfeit headquarters where we just saw Willem Dafoe making the money. So he's there by himself. And yeah, it goes about as you'd expect from having watched the movie now. When you know a little bit about this organization, there's just this guy that works for Dafoe who's kind of classic and just blasts people with shotguns. So he takes the old partner right out. That's it. They hide the body. They're out. They burn it down, I believe. They're out of there. Now, the young partner comes and finds everything and is like, whoa, we got to get this guy because he's been eluding us for years, and now he only had 3 days left and he's dead. Obviously, they shot him, so that's the big motivation for him to go and chase down this lead now, as his old partner was killed in the process of trying to find this counterfeit money operation and figure everything out there. So throughout the movie now, we're going to get a string of sting operations where they try and entrap people from that enterprise to, you know, get to the main guy, because he has been ducking them for years, and they've not been able to figure out where he is, who he is. They don't know anything about him. So their first sting operation is in an airport. This ends in a standoff in the bathroom between our Secret Service agent, and yeah, he eventually gets caught. This was a nice little scene now thinking back, and I didn't mention this before, but you have the kind of criminal running through the thing once he gets exposed, running through the airport, ends up trapped in the bathroom stall. A nice little fight there. Did think that scene was okay. So after the standoff, he's taken into jail, and now he has visitation with Willem Dafoe's character. And I don't know what the prison phones were like in 1985, but you could build a hell of a case on Dafoe's character from just this one interaction. Like, he's just telling him everything. It's night and day here. Like, go ahead, say whatever you will. I don't know. Like, I think they must not have been recording on the phones in 1985. They probably didn't even have the option to do that, so that's why they were allowed to speak so freely. But looking at that now in 2025, when if someone was ever in jail, like never to say anything because people are listening. So I guess nobody was listening, but you kind of get the sense of this here, where Defoe actually was willing to kind of go to bat for this guy because he was his money mule. He he stood up and did a lot for the organization, so he didn't want to hang him out to dry. So he's gonna try and figure that out with his other people, Defoe, while he's in jail. So now, another weird aspect of this movie we have is Defoe's love interest, where this doesn't really occur. I think this happens 2 or 3 times, but he's in like this club where everyone's dressing up weird and there's guys, and I'm not homophobic at all. Love who you love, I don't care. But I just thought this was an interesting twist in the movie where I don't know if is Defoe's character even, does he swing that way? I don't know. He's in it for the girl, but originally it's like, is he gay, which would have made him a more interesting character, I guess. I don't know. I thought this was just a weird addition to the scene, or weird addition to the movie. Where we have the scene where it's basically like eyes wide shut, like sex party. It's very intimate, and I'm not like, trust me, anything can fly. But I just thought that was a weird place to take it. But he just goes down on his girl right after the show. Another girl is just sitting right to the right of him and just like, oh, I guess they're just gonna do it right here, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, whatever. So I thought that was an odd addition to the movie as well, and just kind of I guess that's supposed to show you how his character just doesn't give a fuck, and that's not even the case though, because he does give a fuck and has been hiding from the police for years very carefully. But I don't know, not my favorite scene. Thought it was kind of a weird addition to the movie, and the love interest thing doesn't really pay off at all. It's just kind of like, okay, he has a love interest who's like doing weird sex shows and being provocative. But nonetheless, Max is the one who set up the guy to go to jail in the airport. So Ricky so Max he's this separate entity where he was like the go-between the guy and the guy who ended up getting arrested, and Ricky, who is Defoe's character. Finally, I've learned his name by this point of taking notes. But Ricky comes to collect the money that Max owes him, because after the conversation in jail, he realizes that he was pressing the guy in jail over it, but it was actually Max who scammed the money, set up the guy to go to jail. So now Ricky comes to collect the money at this little house that he got ripped off. So he also catches him macking on his girl, which is a big no-no, what she also set him up there to go in and do, which I guess is like a double fuck you, because he's like, you stole my money and you stole my girl, you're a scumbag, you're no longer my friend. So they have a nice confrontation there where Ricky ends up winning out. He shoots Max twice and Max is now dead. So while all that is happening, we learn a little bit more about our Secret Service agent. So he's banging one of his informants who also gave up Max. Were staking out Max's house, but ultimately too late to see that the death occurred there and what Ricky just did. So yeah, right away when I saw this, I was like, that definitely won't backfire, banging your informants who also gave up Max. Like, she could give you out on a dime if she wanted to. I don't think she does, but I just think that's a very risky game you're playing, sleeping with one of your informants. I mean, I've seen it across movies and stuff. I don't know if it's the right play. You can't control emotions, yada, yada, yada. I get it. So we have Ricky. He now has he has changed his original thoughts, where now he wants to make a deal to have the mule killed in prison. He kind of goes to this other gang who's known for making prison killings happening. So the prison yard looks pretty nice and scenic. Yeah, the guy who's staying in prison, they got like a fountain in front. This is the nicest prison I've ever seen. This is like a Norwegian prison, bro. Like, this was a crazy facility. At least the outside of it looked pretty nice. Anyways, so he sees it coming. He survives the attempt and now wants to talk to the feds. After he's been turned on, he knows that if someone's coming after him, it's really the only person who would care is Ricky and his gang. So now he wants to flip on them because they flipped on him. So back to Ricky, he's in even more trouble now. He's now talking to Jeff, the guy who he hired to do the prison hit, and this goes bad once they kind of are going over how the prison thing was blown up. Jeff's not happy with Ricky either for not paying him, and that he wants his money back, or half the money back that he gave. So this goes bad now, and Ricky shoots him. He gets his money back, and then he burns it while he's naked. So I think Ricky's character is just really interesting. Like I mentioned a couple of times now, that's one of the things that kept me going through this movie. Like, not kept me going, but kept me intrigued in this movie. But him being naked, I mean, I think I'm missing a subliminal message with the girl going down on the girl in front. Maybe he's just a provocative guy, like he just doesn't give a fuck, like I said before. Let me know what you guys thought his motivations were in this movie, because looking back on it, it's like he kind of did some weird stuff. But he's got his money back. He's now killed Jeff. He's now killed Max. So the body count is increasing. While all this is happening, we go back to our Secret Service agent. See, you compare these two storylines. We have the Secret Service agent, you have Ricky. Like, Ricky's stuff is way more interesting and way more like what happened here. And oh, he's getting confrontations, killing people, getting money back, getting scammed, ordering prison hits, botching prison hits. The Secret Service agent's like, I'm sleeping with a stripper who's my informant, and I'm staking out a house, and we're too late. Like, it's, I don't know, hard to get wrapped up in the Secret Story or Secret Service agent guy's storyline. Anyways, so he now frees the prisoner to get information on him, the one who wanted to talk to the feds. Um, and this guy is just stupid. It's like he made bad turns everywhere you go. He starts boshing it already. So he, having freed this guy from prison, he takes him upstairs, and then goes. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna let you take your handcuffs off. I think it was in a hospital. He's like, my daughter's up, or my wife or daughter's upstairs. She's in the hospital sick. I please just have the handcuffs off? And I don't even think he asked. He's like, I'll take your handcuffs off for you. Okay, take the fugitive's handcuffs off. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. Beaten very easily in the hallway. The guy runs away, just destroys him in hand-to-hand combat. That makes me question what are our fulfillments for the Secret Service? You have random street thug who is a counterfeit money mule versus a Secret Service agent, just completely outclasses him in both mental capacity and physical capacity. But luckily this is 4 years ago. I'm sure now the Secret Service agent in America now are very good, and there definitely wasn't a controversy 6 months ago about Secret Service agents. Anyways, so that guy is free now. Our Secret Service agent guy has been starting to make fuck ups. This is the first one. So he now has a new partner, and he's pushing him to go outside the law in order to pursue Ricky. They're drinking Miller High Lights, which he drains like 10 of them, at least 20, or not at least 10 or 20, but probably 10 or 20 Miller High Lives throughout the movie, which I respect. Great beer. But also wanted to note Miller High Lifes 40 years later haven't changed design much. Actually had a bottle around here somewhere, but interesting how that's kind of basically the same design, and Miller's still on top. Monopolies do exist. Anyways, so now they pull a guy from the train station now, and this is where things get really interesting. So this is another sting they're trying to pull. They see all the signs that he's gonna be the one. They leave him a little note that's like, "Hey asshole," and then they pull him. Like, it was cool because they call him to the ticket station. He's like, "Okay, what do I got here? Oh, it's a letter. It says, 'Hey asshole,' and then you're getting jumped by the FBI or the Secret Service agents." So after that, they take him. They're on the run. There's other people around him in his organization who are like, "Hey, that's our guy. We can't let him get taken by these people." So his friends come after them with M16s and snipe him. They accidentally kill the guy that they took with him, not the two Secret Service agents. So right away, this should have been a tell looking back on it. And, sometimes I like to sit here and be LeBron and be like, I predict that shit happening, because I did. But this, I did not see coming. But looking back on it, they had an M16 and a sniper. It's like, okay, that's just a random crime organization. Should have been alarm bells ringing, dude. But I didn't catch on to that until later. So while there's a chase down happening, they're through the this is all happening during off the books, by the way. This is not regimented at all. There's no approval for this. They're just doing it. There's a massive car chase that essentially they barked up the wrong tree. That was my impression from it. They certainly did, but not that I don't think it was the tree I thought they barked up. I mean, both trees would have been wrong to bark up, but they barked up the especially wrong tree. Anyways, this is a straight GTA 5 car chase through the river of LA. Brought me right back to driving through, I don't want to say, it's not those tunnels. There is tunnels, but it's like that river where you're driving on the side of it, that in structure. So that reminded me of playing GTA 5. Those who know, know. Now, they get out of those tunnels and out of the riverside, and what's the play here? Drive against traffic. Yeah, this is where the main service agent loses complete control. I mean, he's already unhinged, but now even more and more. He's driving against traffic. He's, doing all the stuff off the books. He's really losing his shit. So They find out that they were fucking with the FBI, not Ricky's crew. So R.I.P. bro, like, and I don't know if it's Rick or Ricky. I've been saying interchanging both, but yeah, this is toast. You fucked with the FBI. The other guy's starting to tweak a bit. His new partner, he's like, dude, we're gonna get slaughtered for this as the FBI. They're gonna figure out who we are. And he's like, nah, chill, bro. It's just one guy. Like, we didn't even kill him. We're in the clear. We're gonna do fine. So clearly not thinking rationally. Clearly not being locked into the case as he should be. Also not playing on moral grounds. Doing everything off the books. So while all this is happening, and I haven't mentioned this yet, so basically they had a fake operation in with Ricky where they pretended to be these like guys from Florida who were trying to buy the counterfeit money. Like, you got 100 G's, I got this G. Like, they were making a deal for it. So finally, the time has come to make the buy, which is also unsanctioned and has not been approved, and no one even knows about it. So there's like, you're gonna pull this in court and say we did a fake buy with no approval and no anything. So that was doomed from the start. But they finally are making the buy. Pull out the big moment. You guys are under arrest. It's the shotgun guy and Ricky in a locker room. You know, they went to the sauna together. They built a relationship, whatever. It's kind of yada yada. Maybe some interesting back and forth dialogue, but nothing really that I'm even remembering at this point in the building of the relationship. But now they have him, hands against the locker. Ricky is done. The Secret Service agent has done what he needed to. The case is finally going to be solved. But remember what I said earlier about Mr. Shotgun? Takes out our main guy, bro. Just like that, he's dead. A shootout ensues because I think the main guy got Ricky, and then the other partner, the new partner who is trying to play morally correct, shoots the shotgun guy. So it's a bang bang Reservoir Dogs type situation, and the only one left is the new partner, the new moral partner. So he's got to figure this out now because there's a whole mess. Everyone's dead. Actually, no, Ricky isn't dead at this point. I forgot about this part. So he's the only one that's seemingly left. Ricky is, I believe, to be hit, but he escapes. So good scenics ensue where Ricky now escapes to the big counterfeit money plant, the factory where he was making all of his money. And I like this scenery here with the red and orange fire mix of colors. Throughout the movie, we do see that go back and forth. So Ricky burns down the shop, maybe harkening back to that first painting scene where he burns the painting. But he burns the shop where he made the money in a massive fire. He beats down our new partner guy, the only moral guy left in the movie. But then at the end, the partner is able to get the upper hand, shoot him, and then Ricky burns alive. Wowza. So yeah, I thought that ending was pretty interesting. I did like that part of it. Definitely not what we were expecting. It did feel like they kind of went with the add a little extra layer of Ricky escaping and then the partner shooting him, burning alive, whatever. But I did like that part. Thought that was a cool ending. So after all this is settled, this guy's got a lot to deal with, right? You know, he's got to explain this to his superiors. He's got to get off the grid. He's got to decide if he wants to even stay in the force. But the only scene we get with him is going back to the stripper informant who is working for the other guy and says, "You're my partner now, bitch." So he's going to have crazy sex with his stripper informant, and that's where we end this movie. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know, kind of like a weak ending to the ending. Like, usually you get that nice little clarity scene. I thought that this was kind of a stupid scene. The stripper character and slash informant wasn't really that important. But maybe it's a deeper moral message. Now I'm thinking about it further. He's taking the steps that the other guy was taking, so now he's just filling his shoes basically after all that, so he learned nothing. So police will always be corrupt, Secret Service will always be corrupt. That's the moral of the story. That's how you live and die in LA. I did want to mention the movie title, To Live and Die in LA. We see our main character live and die in LA. We see Willem Dafoe's character, Ricky, live and die in LA. Mic drop. So yeah, that was To Live and Die in LA. It was quite the journey, quite the ride. Just a pretty, like, you know, nothing crazy, but I did find some good aspects of this movie. So what did you guys think of To Live and Die in LA? Did you like it? Did you think it was mid like I did, or did you not like it at all? Let me know down in the comments below. Feel free to leave a like, leave a dislike, subscribe for more content. We have movie reviews, pumping them out. The movie marathon continues. Next review will be The Revenant. After that, who knows? But always doing movie reviews. We got shows coming back mid-February. A lot of new shows coming out as well. Got to figure out what we're covering. NFL, the season is wrapping up. By the time this video comes out, we'll be on a bye week before the Super Bowl, and we'll have a Super Bowl, which I don't know who it'll be, but if you're missing our football streams, you can go back and check out the one we did last week, conference championships, and recapping the divisional round. So always more sports, always more movies, always more TVs on the DubCast. We're only growing from here, baby. So appreciate you as always. And one thing left to say. Be easy, y'all.